Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Apply the appropriate greeting. So I want to say thank you to Otis for subscribing for 2 months. If you're live in the chat, you would see that. So you can come and watch these live every Thursday, 10 p.m. UK time, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, any changes in that will usually be like announced on my Twitter, so you can go over to Intrepidus1 at Intrepidus1 on Twitter, and you'll get any information that you may need. But it's that time of the week again. It's a Rising Lights podcast, so welcome on in. Thank you very much, people, for listening on the platform, the podcast platforms that Kit puts it on. And on YouTube, but I think we better get my co-host Kit to say hello.
Hi, folks.
And then our guest this week, joining us from the Eastern Time Zone, is the one and only Mr. GhostPossum or GoPo. You want to say hello, GoPo?
Hey, how's it going?
There you go. So as we usually do, we come in on the music from part of the plan. The song this week was What I Deserve, as you can see on screen right now. And then again, part of the plan, as we always do. We had Cody, who is the guy in the middle here, goes by WraithboundCA on Twitch. So I do a quick command in the chat for him and the band themselves. As I say, the podcast, like little intro to the music, part of the plan is a band that are based in Windsor, in Canada, Ontario, Canada. Awesome group of lads from what I've heard in Rafe streams, because he does stream playing with them sometimes. Rafe himself is an awesome dude. As you can see in the command, if you're in chat live, there is a link there to a clip where we had Rafe himself on episode 4 of the podcast. We got his opinions on DMCA, a couple things happening with Destiny, because he does stream Destiny amongst other games. But we got his stance and the band's stance on like DMCA and what they think of people using their music. And story short, he basically said, have at it, and they love to see what creators come up with, content-wise, using their music. So the song that you actually just came into this podcast on, you may hear again at some point if I ever get round to like editing all the clips I've got of me playing Destiny and Apex, where I go on little sprees into like a montage type thing, because I really like that song. But I've also got the Spotify link in there to their like discography, which is, you know, every song they've ever done, and they've actually bought rights for certain songs to do covers as well, so you don't get DMCA'd on them either. Okay, with that out of the way, you know, the introduction to the podcast and the music that we do every week, let's get to know Mr. GoPo. How are you today?
I'm good.
Personally.
I'm good.
Okay. So, we usually ask you, like, what sort of got you into streaming, or what sort of games you grew up playing, and, you know, what brought you to Destiny. Is Destiny the only game you stream? So on and so forth. So just give a little intro to you and what you do on Twitch, essentially.
Thank you. I guess I qualify as an old man gamer. I live outside of Philadelphia in the U.S. and I do mostly stream Destiny, but I enjoy a variety of games. I've actually long enjoyed single player adventure games. I'm like a big Uncharted or Assassin's Creed type of nut. I am willing to try new games when they come out. It's always fun to see something different, and you never know, it could be something that you'll want to play all the time as well. It's how we got here in the first place.
Right. So is that what
Um,
Destiny was for you then? You just saw it and was like, that looks cool. Let me give that a try.
well, no, it was a natural progression from Halo, like
Ah,
learning to appreciate Bungie by playing Halo games, and then
same as me then.
yeah, knowing this property was like incubating while they were preparing to walk away from Microsoft. I was pretty excited to see what they were going to do next gen. So
Mm.
yeah,
All right. So I know for anybody who doesn't know, you are part of the clan. Oh, I forget what the name of the clan is, but it's Danfinity's clan.
current meta.
There you go. Current meta.
Nice.
Dan's an awesome dude. Seen him do, you know, back in Season of Arrivals, he was doing helps for people to get Anarchy. One of the times I like stopped by Witty Calf's stream, he was helping Dan with that. So it was a natural progression for me to be introduced to him, sort of thing. But I think I actually got introduced to you through Pigeon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So,
I know when Dan was doing the anarchy thing, he was his goal was 100 anarchies. He wanted to get 100 other players an anarchy, and it was pretty fun helping him out throughout that season, trying to get that done on the weekend. He's a
yeah.
super rad dude, super helpful player too.
Yeah. What sort of I'm trying to think of where I was gonna go with that. What sort of like thing do you tend to do in your streams? And are you always like helping people get through things? And I know I didn't even know you streamed. Like I got introduced to you through Pigeon, but I didn't know you streamed until um Noob IRL, who we have also had on the podcast.
Yeah.
until he raided you after you guys helped him with DSC.
Yeah, we helped him through his first DSC. That was a pretty fun deal.
Yeah, and then I
It's,
was like, GoPo, I didn't realize you streamed.
the GoPo thing came from my previous clan because there's a lot of players that have like Ghost in their nicknames as a variation, like
Yeah,
Ghost Monkey, Ghost Shark, the Invisible Ghost, and you play with those kind of people and you get partnered up with them, and then it breeds confusion. Somebody will be like Ghost go left, and then you have three players running left. So my former clan leader, who's a player by the name of Alfito, he just started calling me Gopo. He just coined it and it stuck. And and I've been running with it ever since. So it's
yeah. We
all
had
credit.
we had what did we have in what did we have in uh Legion kit? It was like 4 people with the name Devil to some
Yeah.
degree.
And at one point we had two
Devil
enraged.
Joe. Yeah, Devil Joe, Devil Killer or something like that. Devil Slayer. It's like, oh god. And then
It's
yeah,
always something.
we had Kit who was Enraged Kitsune, and then his brother who was Enraged Yokai.
Enraged Yokai, yeah.
So yeah, when I got to PC, I was like, should I just stick with the Ghost Possum thing? And I was like, you know what? No, I'm
Oh,
just gonna
wrong
go.
fucking. I just went to give you a shout out in the chat. I fucking
Oh
spelled your
no!
name wrong. Rip.
Oh, the sadness.
I'm
Oh, well.
dyslexic. Okay.
We didn't get someone a random shout out. He just killed Mac and was like, I don't
It's
know.
all lowercase. Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
not real. I'm a ghost.
But yeah,
Well played.
people don't realize this, but prior to me taking up the Intrepid mantle, which actually came from a similar sort of thing in a sense of I used to be called Fearless, which is what Intrepidus means. And I ran my own Call of Duty clan. So I was at the time. The name of the clan was Nightmare Gaming. So we had NMG wherever we what like, but I was Fearless NMG. And then after that, I wanted to go SG Fearless, but I was like, that doesn't really, because that's where we changed our name to Synapse Gaming. So it was SG, and then we were going to, have whatever gamer tag it was. So I was like, SG Fearless just doesn't hit the spot. And I was playing a Warhammer 40,000 game where you like control a Titan, and you have to name your Titan. So I looked up Latin for Fearless, and it said Intrepid, and I was like, well, whenever they do like the names in Warhammer, it's not the Mechanica, the mechanics. It's Adeptus Mechanicus, so it's like the us at the end. So it's like Intrepidus. You know what? That fucking works. So I went with that, and then obviously natural progression. Clan just like dropped pretty much when I stopped playing COD as much as I used to, and then also so did most of the group. And it was actually just like when we switched over from like the old 360 to the one, we all just sort of went separate ways. So I just like I kept SG Intrepidus until to like basically Season of Arrivals, and I was like, I need to change this, but I don't know what to. And so I was like looking up Fearless 1, Intrepidus 1, and then the actual like number spelt out, which is obviously where I got the name, was not taken. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go with that. But prior to me having the Fearless moniker, I had Ghostly, because I was the one that would run around with a suppressed gun with like the perks on that made me not appear on radar, silent, UAV jammers and all that. Like anything that could make me the stealthiest player possible, I had them on. and I changed my playstyle, so Ghostly didn't actually fit me anymore, and that's why I became fearless. And it's like that basically became from playing Call of Duty Search and Destroy, last one alive, and it's 1v3, and my teammates are like, just play for 1v1s, heal 1v1, heal 1v1. I'm like, no, fuck that. And so I'd run out and like challenge all three of them at the same time. And you know, 9 out of 10 times I got my ass handed to me, but
but that one time.
yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
The payoff, yeah, there it is.
So the guys turn around to me and says, "You're not fucking Ghostly anymore. You're a fearless player." And it just, like you said with the GoPo thing, it stuck.
It
I've
just
kept that
sticks,
around.
yeah. And you're just they're like, oh yeah, that's it. It's me. I think I agree with you. That's how I got the Ghost moniker to begin with. Because in Call of Duty, I was really into killing people with knives, like getting the backstabber medals. And I remember when Halo Reach was out and they introduced assassinations, and that's
Oh
pretty
my
much
God.
all I wanted to do
Yes.
to anyone was just assassinate him. So yeah, all the
Yes.
stealth mods for days. And
It
just
helped as
stuck.
well in Call of Duty when they had like in the Modern Warfare series, they have the guy who's literally called Ghost as well,
Yeah,
and he's the most badass guy in the fucking franchise.
easily. It's pretty wild to see him come back in the Cold War type series, how they were sort of sliding back, or not Cold War, but like Modern Warfare, and
Yeah, it's
the
called Modern
the
Warfare is
prequel.
a prequel to Call of
Yeah,
Duty 4, and it's like, oh, okay, that's really, screwed with my head right there. But okay, we'll go with that. Activision,
That's kind of wonky timelining, but whatever.
Yeah.
yeah. They do that though. They're like Christopher. They're like Nolan. They just Nolanify all of their timelines, and I can't keep up with what timeline I'm in.
I actually do hope
I'm
they
just there to
do
kill.
I do hope they do a Call of Duty Ghosts 2 though, because the Ghosts, like Call of Duty Ghosts campaign, was brilliant. People always
yeah.
take the piss out of it because, it was the one that went in between generations, and part of the marketing thing was, look, we've got next gen fish, because at the underwater level there's fish
Yeah.
swimming around, and they're like, look, fish don't just swim, they react to you. Oh, and we've got a dog. Like that's the whole like meme of it.
Oh God! Everybody I knew that
Yeah.
when we played Ghost, we called it Battlefield with a dog because it's just a giant. They were all giant maps. The maps in PvP on Ghost were huge, and it was like you could
Was
traverse an entire field just to get sniped by somebody, and then have to traverse the entire field again. And I hated it.
there was only like one or two maps that were like that though.
It
Like
it was.
Warzone, I think one of them was called, where you had the 3 lanes, the tank in the middle. It was based in like a little um small town type thing. Then you had
Yeah.
like the one that's been
Was it
reimagined in
Fortress?
Infinite Warfare. Yeah, Fortress was the huge map. Yeah,
I
was based
hated
in.
that one so much.
Yeah, so did I. I felt like I had to sit on top of a building with a sniper constantly, and no fun. But
Yeah.
speaking of like things that aren't, I don't even know where I was gonna go. Speaking of Call of Duty, because I thought the Call of Duty thing was the first topic on our list, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's the hot
no,
tubs thing.
no, it isn't. No, Call of Duty timelines are confusing. Ours isn't. Right.
Yeah.
So you said, and I put in notes. We called it last week and previously. Right. Last week or the
Yeah.
week before, you said that Twitch needs to make a category for this, and guess what they've done?
Exactly that.
Yep, they've added a new category.
So what was I saying last week? I know how they're gonna make fucking business deals and make money off of this kind of thing, blah blah this and the other. And I've got smarts. I know where this is going.
And one of the
Boom.
notes in that thing, don't know if you just closed it or switched off of it, but they did mention, sort of in reference to the article last week about one of them losing advertising on their channel, was that this would allow individual advertisers to opt in or out on the category as a whole.
That's smart.
It does make more sense. Yeah.
And it makes more sense as well because you can block categories, but some people didn't want to block just chatting because there were other things that they were actually looking for in there.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And this lets them just go, well, I don't want to see that. But yeah, as the other article that's closely linked with that says, because we're just kind of rushing through the Twitch stuff at the minute. Who cares?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in a bit anyway. But yeah, a lot of the channels that are streaming in that category aren't actually streaming from like a hot tub.
Mm.
Like what I checked this morning, well not this morning, this afternoon to research. Right, I don't normally click these things. Anyway,
Sure you don't, Kit.
no, if I'm looking for that, I don't use Twitch.
As you shouldn't. Personal opinion,
Exactly.
but
But-
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, what I did find really amusing is because after I'd found this Kotaku article,
yeah.
was I went to go and double check, and the first one on the list, like the one with like the most views or whatever, was the person in question from last week. Second on the list was a live cam of a pool of otters.
What?
There's Twitter. There was a Twitter thing I seen the other day as well as like otter updates or something, and it was literally a pool of
Yeah.
otters just swimming backwards and forwards.
There was one before as well that I found amusing. There was one like the title was like thickest chicks, you know, with all the T's and everything, and it's like a load of ducks in a pond.
I mean,
Oh, so clever. I love it.
But but they can do that because the category is hot tubs, pools, and beaches.
yeah.
Mhm.
You could argue that it's close enough to a pool.
Yep.
This is correct. It's a body of water. So
Yeah.
I mean, just looking in this picture here that they've got on the article, they've got a VTuber, which I assume is German
Yeah.
VTuber because of the title afterwards. Like, that is literally, you know, a virtual avatar on a pool background with, you know, a load of rubber ducks in the background. And it's like, well, you clearly aren't watching that particular person for what, you know, the typical hot tub crowd are looking for. Do you know what I mean? You are watching them for something else. Like their chat, like their animation on their VTube avatar. Like, to each their own.
right.
You know, do whatever. Like I said this last week, as long as it's making Twitch no money, they ain't gonna ban it. They're exploiting a loophole as they discussed in the article given last week. I think it says it somewhere here in here as well. Where they're, you know, they were exploiting a loophole in Twitch's, you know, terms of service. But they needed to make their own category for it so that one, if people wanted to not go in and see, you know, hot tub streamers, they didn't have to, and then also, as obviously has been implemented, if advertisers didn't want adverts to be placed on hot tub streamers, they could opt out of that category. You know what I mean? I didn't know it was actually a possibility for them to opt out of a category as a whole, but you know,
It makes sense though, because let's say
Yeah.
you're advertising like Bungie's next game, and it's kind of likely to be a shooter of some description, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
You don't really want to be advertising a shooter in like I don't
League
know,
of Legends.
League of Legends or Forza or whatever. You know, you've got a load of people playing Forza. You're not particularly likely to want to target a shooter at those people because they're going to be more interested in racing or flying games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But if you've got someone playing Destiny or COD or Valorant or anything like that, then you will want to target that crowd. So it does make sense that they'd be able to do that.
yeah. But yeah, speaking of categories, there.
Yep, that's why I put the two of them next to each other. This
Warzone.
one actually, yeah. So
This one, I'm sorry, I'm gonna quickly before you go into whatever you were gonna say, Kit. I'm gonna say one thing. This is the fault of discoverability on Twitch and the creators themselves. All right.
yeah,
in conjunction with one another. So the
Yeah.
either discoverability on Twitch needs to be better, and better implemented for creators not to feel like they need to do things like what I'm about to say, or the creators themselves are complete idiots because they're just putting in Warzone into their game instead.
I think
Stream
it's
information
this particular
rather
example. I
than
think it's the latter
because,
because
Call of Duty
yeah,
Warzone.
there
But
are a lot of other streams, and if you're searching by game, you would find Call of Duty Warzone on Twitch and find all
Yeah.
of those streams. So I think it is just people going, well, I'm streaming Warzone, I'll type Warzone in, and then not looking at the picture or whatever that pops up when they set up the stream.
Right.
Just assuming that it's just
But
Warzone. Why would it not be?
The other thing that I'm saying though, regards to the discoverability thing, is there may be somewhere in here like this group of people where they go, okay, let me put Warzone into the stream information, right? The game, and then they look and they see Warzone and then Call of Duty Warzone, because there is two Apexes, believe it or not. There's an actual one that's typed capital Apex, and that's it. And then there's Apex Legends, which is obviously the game that I play. I won't other people, but so obviously I put in Apex Legends. I want to make sure I'm in the right category.
Correct.
But there might be people who do it accidentally at first and then realize, oh, do you know what? This guy right here, Joker, dude, this may need refreshing. I haven't refreshed it since, I set everything up for the podcast. But let's just say if he was actually in the Call of Duty Warzone category, he'd be getting probably about the same as this guy, Super Senad. Yeah, there's 10, 11 views. Perfectly respectable. But in this category, he's getting 71. Why would he not, the next day, just put in Warzone instead of Call of Duty Warzone?
Of course.
Yeah.
He's
especially
going to.
given that especially given that there being a lot more people in the other category, that when they go to he's not going to be found in that category. You're going to find people who are on 200, 300, 400 viewers.
More than that. Tim the Tatman.
Well, okay, yeah, obviously we've got the people with loads, but you're more likely to find, even if you go, okay, well, I don't want to watch someone huge, I'll scroll down a bit.
They all average 1,000 plus, like easy.
Yeah.
Maven is a caster for Call of Duty and plays Warzone.
But I mean, Twitch is it's a simple concept though. It's like fishing. You go to where the fish are, So if they're finding a way, I don't want to use the word exploit, but find a way to kind of boost their audience. The option is there to take advantage of it. So
yeah. And for the fun fact is as well, if you then do actually switch over to you get these people come and follow you, because Joker guy road to 200 followers, right? You get these people come and follow you, then you actually do put your Call of Duty Warzone instead of just Warzone, right? The players, the people who come and watch you, they've got to know you for you. They're not there for the game. Well, they're there for Call of Duty Warzone, you know what I mean? But they're not there for the category that they're in. They're there for you, so they're going to follow you over to Call of Duty Warzone, the actual category. So you potentially boosted yourself up in that category to where people who aren't looking just for Warzone and are looking for Call of Duty Warzone will find you because you're further up the list.
Yes.
But again, for me, that comes back to discoverability on Twitch being absolutely arse. And I said this the other day to Fiend, right? Mine and Kit's friend Fiend. He's saying he hasn't had the I might have been saying it to Otis as well, I can't remember. But a couple people have said to me, oh, I haven't had this community challenge thing yet where people donate points to boost the stream and stuff like that and get you on like recommended and stuff. And I said, you know what? I've had it umpteen times. There's been a few times where it's failed, but for the most part it's passed. Probably 10 times it's passed, and probably like 5 times that it's failed. And so obviously every time it's failed conjunctively, they've reduced the price a bit. That more of my less of my community have to be involved to boost the stream. But I said I have noticed no difference in any sort of metrics when I've looked at after stream report and stuff like that at all. From me just doing it normally. I said, so I'm considering turning it off. In fact, I wish I could send it to bloody other people. Like, if I could send it to Fiend and go, here, let him use it for a month or two. Like, I would. Because I personally feel like it's doing nothing. It's a good thing in concept, but how many people have you got that are doing that? And then how many viewers are actually going to be willing to see somebody new on their recommended feed and actually go, do you know what? Yeah, I'll check them out. Do you know what I mean? I know for a fact most of mine, like 75% of my recommended feed, whenever I go on it, is typically either a partnered streamer or streamers that are connected to streamers that I already watch. And it's like, well, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna watch the streamer that I already watch. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. You're already predetermined, and it's kind of a bummer. I don't know if it's like a healthy practice to recommend that, once a week you should be going through the directories of the games you truly enjoy and see if you spot someone new that seems interesting, and drop them a follow or just watch them for a bit and see how their stream is.
Well, that's one thing I've said in the past on this. I think we were talking about raiding one time. It was like, always raid at the end of your stream.
Yes.
Because one, it lets another creator know that you enjoy their content. Yeah. So they might have been having a shitty day, and you raiding them, whether it's with one person or 10, is telling them you enjoy their content, and so they should keep going. And so what will happen? They will keep making the content, whether they have got one person there or 10 people there. Do you know what I mean? So
Correct.
That's one thing I like stand by myself, is that so when I get, so let's say I was in your stream and you raided, and let's say I didn't know Dan, and you raided Dan. I'm gonna drop Dan a follow, and then one day when I'm, browsing my Twitch follow list, because I looked at it the other week when the new season came out, and when VoG, and then the other night as well when VoG came out at the weekend, and I had like in excess of 60 people on my following list, all live. I can't watch 60 people, but they're all on there for a reason. Either I enjoy their content, or it's what I was about to say, which is I'll follow somebody and then I'll go back and watch their content at a later date and see if I enjoy their content enough to where I'm like, do you know what? I want to give them a boost whenever I finish my stream. I want to give them a boost and tell them I enjoy them. Do you know what I mean? So,
yes.
There goes another thing as well. Anybody that doesn't already, have VODs on. And have them accessible to anyone. Because 9 times out of 10, if I hear from somebody myself, like let's say Otis came to me and goes, I've been watching this new Apex player, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. And then I go and like check them out, and their VODs aren't on. I'm not gonna hit that follow button to come and get a notification that you go live to come and watch you live, because I haven't seen anything of your content to make me go, you know what, I'm going to enjoy this person. I'm going to enjoy this person's content. So anybody who doesn't have VODs on, I personally have them on. That's the way I
don't know why you wouldn't. I think the only reason you shouldn't have them on, the only reason, and maybe this is something that you should consider, changing in the future so that you will have them on, is the music, so you don't get DMCA'd, and that's it. Everything else, You should present yourself. You should put yourself out there.
And even then, with like OBS, they have, you know, the track the VOD track thing, so you can differentiate it. So the track will go out on the live stream but won't appear in the VOD. So you can have your music. So like I have my Spotify on
isolation, yeah.
On VOD tracks on VOD track 6, and I told OBS that track 6 is my VOD track, and so it will turn that one off. Whenever it goes to VOD, it will turn that one off. It won't even broadcast that as a VOD. So I've been through my streams, like trying to find clips and stuff, and I've heard me singing along to what song I'm like listening to at the time, and you can't hear the music in the background, so I just sound like a crazy person. But
just sound like carpool karaoke.
Yeah, you come in live and boom, I'm singing along to the song. Whether it's bad or good is, you know, you reserve judgment, whatever. I don't care.
But I think they can DMCA you just for singing it though. Like it's not even just playing the song. Like if you sing a song like word for word, you have to be careful of that too, because that can be considered, you know, rights usage. I give Dan hell for that all the time. I'm constantly like teasing him by singing nonsense and when we stream or if we play together, and he's like, "Don't do it."
I'm pretty sure that like it's considered that you're, you know, recreating it.
Exactly, like a parody. Like you just treat it as a parody. That's how you get out of it.
But the reason we obviously mentioned the Warzone,
and not the entire thing.
Yeah. So the reason that we mentioned the whole Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone thing is there has been like a declaration of court proceedings between Warzone.com and Activision.
This document, well, the fact that this was going on, my brother told me, Yokai, and this led me to look into the Twitch categories because I'd seen there was a post that were like one of the parties, the Warzone.com LLC, the guy who developed the game Warzone. It's a browser-based strategy game. It's basically Risk.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played that? But obviously in your browser. And you don't need to scroll through the entire thing, Trap.
I know.
But basically what's going on here is both Activision and this guy were trying to register the term Warzone as a trademark.
Okay.
So Activision was trying to have Call of Duty Warzone and Warzone as trademarks. And Warzone.com LLC, which is the company that the guy runs who developed the game and hosts it, wanted Warzone as trademark because that's just the name of his game. And they were having like talks, like his lawyers with Activision's lawyers and everything, and they weren't getting anywhere with it. So now they've reached a case in court.
Yeah.
Litigation. I mean, at the same time though, like if he was to just call it Risk, like Hasbro would have him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's basically the same thing, like you said. There are. I am a very I got introduced to Risk, the board game, as very young by my dad or stepdad. Beside the point. And so like I am an avid fan of Risk. I like really enjoy playing the game, and some of the newer like iterations of it, I really don't enjoy. But so this is the sort of thing I wouldn't mind giving a go. But at the same time, if they know, like, so Warzone.com, I'm just going to refer to that as Warzone, and I'll just say COD Warzone. I'll refer to them as Activision, right? So Warzone knows that COD Warzone exists, that Activision's Warzones exist, because it's one of the biggest games on the fucking market right now. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know that a company,
it is severely hampering their discoverability.
Yeah.
Like if you search Warzone in any search engine, you will get nothing but COD.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the point is as well though, you know, a company like Activision is gonna go out for, um, you know, copyrights and trademarks, etc., right? I
Yeah.
don't know when he specifically made this game and decided to call it Warzone, but
The game existed under a different name since 2018, and he changed the name of it sometime the start of last year.
so
So
when
which,
Call of Duty Warzone was already out,
I don't know. I don't know when he actually changed the name.
because Call of Duty Warzone came out with, well, not right at the beginning, but pretty much like in January of last year, because it was packaged with Modern Warfare, which
Yeah,
came
it's a
out the
free to
previous
play game that
November.
released in March of last
Here we go.
Oh, was it March? There you go.
Yeah, the parties dispute. On or about June 25th, 2020, Activision filed applications for trademarks Warzone and Call of Duty Warzone in connection with downloadable video game software and downloadable video and computer game programs.
Mm. But my point was gonna be, yeah, you know that Activision as a company is gonna go out for trademarks and shit. Like,
Of course.
I hate to stick up for the big guy here, you know, because you know we need to have little companies sort of fight the big guys. One of the things I tweeted out about crossplay and Sony and shit earlier today, 2K sort of turned around and went, haha, no, but to PlayStation trying to charge them for cross-platform to be accessible by PlayStations. But anyway, but Activision is going to win. Like, they've got the legal backing, you know, the money, if you will. So I would personally just turn around and go, right, can I change this name? That's just me. I wouldn't even try and take on fucking Activision Blizzard, like one of the biggest companies in the world for
I
gaming,
think
at
it's
least.
amazing that Activision didn't try to trademark it sooner.
Well, yeah. See, I was thinking that as well. See, because it's because it's because they both filed for trademark before one of them had passed that we've had this conflict, and then they've gone back and forth between each other. But it's turned out that this particular case, the reason this went to court, or is going to a court, who's probably going to rule in Activision's favor anyway, was on Activision's side,
Right.
or their lawyers on behalf of Activision. Which is why, right at the top, they are listed as the plaintiff.
Right. And they probably have a bit of a case because, like you said, the game didn't start out being named Warzone. And
Yeah,
he switched it.
you just know the type of company that Activision is as well. They're probably gonna play on that and be like, look, he saw marketing material for Call of Duty Warzone, knew that we was going to like go for Warzone
Part of their
thing, and he chose the name to try and like siphon some of the popularity. I guarantee it. It's one of the things that Activision's gonna pull.
well, the thing is, right, is that by the time of this obviously coming out and everything, one of the points, I think it's point 21, it was saying Activision is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges, the defendant's Warzone, so on Warzone.com, is one of many games titled Warzone available through a browser, and there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that he, because of that, he shouldn't have like the right to use that term specifically as a trademark, more so than any of these would do.
This is what I mean as well. The Activision's legal team is gonna have more video game legal prowess than this small developer. Do you know what I mean? So the things like that they're going to know, whereas this like gamers in general probably don't unless they have some sort of law degree. and this dude himself is probably not gonna know, sort of thing.
Right. Not unless he retains counsel too.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I'd love to see. There's actually, yeah, look, they've actually listed a bunch of them here. All right, the
That's like a good
Warzone
20.
emergency landing, like holy shit. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. But I'm like you said, Kit. I pretty much said I hate to side with the big guy, but very much see it being sided in Activision's favor, personally. Look, just you can't really compete with them. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Swinging
think
things
about it.
back straight round to actual Twitch news.
yeah. New tag. They've added 350 new tags. Include transgender, black, disabled, veteran, and VTuber, among others. We will also remove references to ally from LGBTQIA plus tag. Oof, I don't know why I struggle to say like a bunch, the letters.
Oh. But yeah, they're making a separate ally tag.
Yeah.
Was the rest of that sentence.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah.
No, because I seriously want to include that as a tag on my stream.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many varied opinions on it. Some LGBTQIA don't want us using it to say,
Oh, yeah,
look,
'cause
this is a safe space. But at the same time, there are, I would say it's probably like 55% don't want us using it, but then 45 are like, go right ahead. Like, if I see that tag, I'm going to come in, I'm going to feel like I'm safe. And then I'm going to ask you, oh, are you part of the community or are you an ally? Like, is that why are you using the tag essentially? And then if you turn around to me and say, oh, I'm an ally, I believe everybody should, be comfortable within themselves and etc. Whatever the information you want to give on why you believe that you're an ally, sort of thing, then they say, I'm gonna respect it and be like, thank you. But then, like I said, the other 55% of people that are like, no, I don't want you using it, is like, it needs to be for us, not for. So I completely understand both sides, and I'm very much glad that Twitch is implementing an ally tag. But at the same time, some people could be allies for certain things and not others, so they may need to differentiate it. You know what I mean? Like, look at BLM. A huge. I'm gonna get onto it in a bit with the Destiny stuff, but it's a huge thing. And there will be people there who are there going, yeah, I support this, but then when it comes to trans rights, and LGBTQIA
plus, yeah.
They're like, no, I don't support it. Rather than, do you know what I mean? So you can't say I'm an ally in that respect. No. So, but no, I completely understand and agree with that. And then the rest of the article seems to just be going into why they're picking them and stuff like that. I do like that they did partner with independent third-party organizations like the Trevor Project, GLAD, Able Gamers, Special Effect, a bunch of other underrepresented groups, sort of thing. And I know Activision, a trans streamer in the Destiny community, does a lot with Trevor Project as well. So
yeah,
yeah,
they do.
I very much agree with the ally tag myself.
I believe in it. It gives us a space to create value and safety for those communities without them feeling like we're exploiting it. And I
Yeah,
think that's what
exactly.
it's one thing to say, Black Lives Matter. It's another thing to really believe in those values
Exactly.
that you
Yeah.
wish to see equality. So
100%.
so ally tag's great. I'm completely for it. It kind of, you know, creates a nice little buffer so nobody feels exploited.
Exactly. I completely agree. Um, and like you say, just to turn and say you support something is completely different than actually like actively like I've considered approaching like Anubis and saying can I like nick like sort of steal some of the timers he has with Nightbot, that relate to tweets of like the maths behind like systematic racism and shit and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
um,
It's crazy being over here and seeing it. And I know the global community also witnesses it as well.
yeah, that's one
It's
thing
really tough here in America, though. It's because it was our foundation.
mm,
We
like
needed
we actually,
labor.
I've said it on this podcast before. It's like I was one of the people that when the whole BLM thing first like came about, people were actively, saying, "Oh, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter." I was like, I was one of those people who was like, "Of course, because all lives matter." You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I turn around to,
And that is the goal.
yeah.
They're
But that's
just
what I mean.
highlighting
Awareness.
something that should be the case and isn't.
Yeah.
Awareness
But that's what I'm saying.
and
So
growth.
I said to Anubis, it says, can you maybe explain to me why people get annoyed and pissed off and sort of kind of attack me, but not um properly because people didn't want to appear to be the other side of the coin, sort of thing. When I say, of course, Black Lives Matter because all lives matter. And he says, and he basically just broke it down to me, and he's like, "Listen, dude, like, I know you mean well, and I know you're not saying it out of any malicious intent, but the reason that the whole Black Lives Matter saying it and announcing it and being a movement isn't we are saying Black Lives Matter more, it's that we are saying they matter as well." And then when people turn around and say all lives matter, it's a response that's like, yeah, but you know you're it's very hard for me
It,
to sort of
it
explain what I'm trying
nullifies
to like.
It's an
Yeah,
overarching.
it's an
It's a,
overarching thing. Yeah,
it's an overarching thing and can come off fairly dismissive.
yeah.
Was it Dave Chappelle had
So
a bit
then
about that.
Anubis turned around to me and says, so what they're basically trying to say when they say Black Lives Matter is that when you say all lives matter is yes, but not until Black Lives Matter as well. And I was like, okay. All right, now I get it. I was like, you know what? Now you broke it down. Like, now I get it. And
The
do
light goes off. Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah. Whenever somebody
Yeah.
turns around to me and goes, "Oh, are you for Black Lives Matter?" It's like, yeah, because of exactly what and how Anubis broke it down to me, and I was like, because all lives can't matter until they matter.
Exactly.
And so like that's, and I've got like, I grew up with you know friends who were black, and I didn't see any of the struggles that they went through because they hid them. um I've spoken to Anubis about like some of the things with regards to systematic racism in the UK because obviously he's in the UK as well. It's like, have you like experienced it here? Because I thought it's more of a US thing, and he goes, "Nah, I tell you, when I go into a shop and I feel like I have to buy something, even if they don't have what I want, just because I'm black. He goes, that's when you know there's a system that is targeted towards being racist.
That goes back a ways. It's like the
And I turn
The
around to him
double-
and says, do you know what? I know exactly how that feels to a certain extent because of the area of Nottingham that I'm from. If I say to somebody, I grew up in the Meadows of the Meadows area of Nottingham, they turn around and go, oh well, you must be connected to gangs, you must be connected to drugs, blah, this, that, and the other. They
right.
instantly profile me with a stereotype of that area. And I turn around and say, so I turn around and says, I completely understand in a sense of how it would relate to me. Obviously, being white, I don't have the same issues that plague his life, plague mine. And then I also spoke to my father-in-law because he's black, and I says, listen, like, I've been told by a creator friend of mine, Anubis, that this has happened. Have you ever felt like this? And he says, yeah, a couple times. I've been into a shop, and I can see the shopkeepers are staring at me like they're expecting me to, grab something and run out the shop, all because I'm black. And I'm like, we need to stop this because I fear that future generations are gonna just get worse gradually, and we'll eventually just make it so.
I don't know about that. I think if anything, it's gotten a lot.
It's
I
yeah,
wouldn't
it's
say a
gonna
lot
get
better. It's gotten a lot
gonna
better
get
for the
it's gonna
most
get
part.
it's gonna get better, but at the same time, if there are no steps taken towards abolishing it completely, I personally feel like it will just gradually get worse again.
Yes.
The thing I think
The
with
regression.
this is that it's got to be a global effort as well,
Yeah,
because it's all good and well if it ramps down in the US and it ramps down in the UK and it ramps down in some places in Europe, it'll just then end up sort of, you'll have people moving away to get away from it, and
yeah.
then it'll become isolated, and it'll grow in isolation.
And also you've
Yes.
got to think of as well, certain cultures, like in Asia, for instance, there's certain stories you hear come out of like China and stuff where a black dude or a white dude will go and they're treated differently from Chinese populace because they're not Chinese. Do you know what I mean? Or Cantonese in some way, with regards to being Japanese, Taiwanese,
Right.
Vietnamese, whatever. That needs to change as well. Because while we suffer with, systematic racism here with regards to the white privilege, in those countries, there is going to be a degree of privilege given to those that are of native descent.
Well, in a weird sort of way,
Do you know what I mean?
slightly different. It's like
roles
classism
reversed.
versus xenophobia, like the
Yeah.
fear of a pigment, skin, versus we think we're better than you. So it's almost like how white privilege is stemmed from their behaviors like that, and it's not just in China. That's all over the world
Yeah.
regionally.
That's what I mean. We need, if we're gonna stamp it out completely and understand that we are all human and we all deserve the same, respect and love and everything else, then it needs to not only be stamped out, as Kit said, in the countries named, from like whites against like black Asians, but then also roles reversed in other countries, where there is a majority Asian population. There needs to be no hate towards whites and blacks. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's I think, because otherwise we can't become, the human race and be like one people. To quote the flag smashers from Captain the Falcon and Winter Soldier, one people, one world. Do you know what I mean? Like, ultimately, as a human race, if the human race became a spacefaring going back to the Halo thing, you know, spacefaring organization, like species even, and we created some organization like the UNSC, then, you know, we need to have that appreciation of everybody from all walks of life, all colors and creeds, all countries of the world. Do you know what I mean? Because we go to, I don't know, for argument's sake, we go to Mars, you know, because SpaceX is trying to get us to Mars, and we find a new species. Like, obviously, scans and shit have been done, but that's just using it as an example. We find a new species. What's the first thing they're gonna think if they see a white guy fighting an a white guy fighting a black guy fighting a Native American fighting an Indian fighting a Chinese? You know what I mean? They're just gonna think, wow, these Earthlings are actually bloody idiots.
Pretty much.
How they got a spaceship off the ground is beyond me. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it anyway. I've always been raised like by my mom to sort of believe that everybody is deserving of equal treatment. If I love you equally. If I hate you you. So you know what I mean? It's not because of what you look like, it's because you've done something to me.
But you're talking about the learning. I think over here in America we had the incident with Colin Kaepernick, who took the knee. And I'm sure you guys have heard of that one. He took a knee on opening day, 6 years ago or so, 5 years. And it was during the Star Spangled Banner, or national anthem. And a lot of people immediately were like, "Oh, you know, he's just, you know, way to disrespect the military." And nobody was paying attention to what he was actually saying, which is like, I'm doing it for this reason because, you know, we're not equal here. And and I was one of those, like, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Like, I was at first I was like, "Oh, that's kind of lame that he would take the knee, like, while they're doing that because they're celebrating our veterans." But then when you take that time and you listen to what he's actually trying to say, or what the message is, you begin to understand the purpose and the intent, and how it's just as important. And that there were veterans who immediately stood up and went, "I support that. That's why I went and fought, so he could do that." You know? And it's understandable for people who are white to kind of knee jerk it, or, you know, or just not react appropriately immediately, because we don't understand what's at stake. But you have to educate yourself. That's the important step. Like, take the time to understand why someone else in your society is asking for things. And
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way I like look at it when it came to me asking Anubis. That was me
all lives matter.
educating
Yeah,
myself. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. I want to know.
You know, I have no idea why they're getting pissed off with me when I say this, because that's the way I believe, is like, everybody matters. So can you explain it to me? And then he explains it to me, and I'm like, okay, shit. Now I see the point of view. Let me quickly turn around and go, yeah, fuck
I gotta
saying
know
that
if he
phrase
did it
ever
in
again.
that silky Anubis voice of his too.
Oh hell yeah!
Man,
Speaking,
it's such
do you
a
know what?
sweet voice.
I think Kit is gonna actually like this.
Just get on with it.
This segue.
I'll make the
And
decision afterwards.
It's on the list last. But speaking of Anubis, he's been playing a lot of Apex because he's not been enjoying Destiny as much. And one of the things we added in the second picture I sent you, GoPo, with regards to topics, is the Apex Legends Global Series Championship. I haven't actually been keeping track of like the APAC region or South America regions, so I didn't actually know that they'd already happened on the 22nd, 23rd. They are going to be having some group stages Saturday and Sunday this weekend as well, if anybody wants to go and watch those. But me, myself, I have been a big follower of the NA scene because of my friend Kotagami, who I met through Ann Prisms, who was also in favoured with me and Hath. Awesome fucking dude. He's playing in the champs for the NA region under
Wow.
the team Wally Catchers. So if you want to go and support them, go and give them a little bit of a shout out sort of thing. But yeah, and then I have been watching a couple of the EU guys, Shiv and Yuki, on 2 different teams. They're pretty good. But obviously top tier of the Apex scene. So wanted to make sure that I think this is the first time they did a crowdfunding for the prize pool as well. So
Nice.
that starts on the 1st, which is Monday for
Tuesday.
for the EU. As you can see up here, EMEA is Europe and Middle East and Africa, and then NA is obviously NA. But yeah, awesome. Just wanted to get that in. I know I realized that it was coming up soon, so
Yeah.
I said that I just put it in the doc and Kit, sort it out as he did.
I feel
Yeah.
bad because I feel like Apex, like we have the trash talk between Apex mains and Destiny mains, but honestly, I think it's amazing to watch anybody play games. Like that's what it's there for. Like you do what you
Oh,
love and play what you love.
like
People on the games by your performance and just making it look fun. So
watching somebody who I know plays the game at a lower level, like myself, like when I've watched my clips back, or if I'm watching a good friend of mine, Wiggy Styles, who we had on the podcast. We've had Otis, Dune. I want to have on the podcast, but we haven't had him yet. Lee, Solidus Lee, like all great friends of mine, but they play the game at a lower level than Cody does. Cody plays at the pred level. Like you can see and watching us who play at like gold to plat, all of those people I just mentioned. Then watching Anubis who plays like plat, maybe into diamond, to then watching like Coty, and his teammates who all play in pred lobbies, and then also watching someone that Anubis plays with quite regularly, Etsky, who also plays at the pred level. Like the difference is almost night and day. Like there is so much to learn within the game, and like personally, from my like knowledge and stuff of playing myself, and then watching like Coty and them who play at the pro level, I'm like, I know the knowledge that I've learned from them could probably get me to plat, and then it's my own like movement, rotations, knowledge of the game, gun skill, etc. that will get me any further. But the knowledge that I've picked up from those pred players, I already know can probably get me to plat pretty easily. The issue I have at the moment, and I've tweeted about it the other day, was I don't have a regular team that I can grind and play with. Like if I had 2 other players regularly were on at the same, as I say that, Rexy gets on fucking Apex. Thanks, Rex. Like I played a couple games one night with Wiggy and Kirby, who obviously recently joined Just Wipe, and some of those games in that session were fun, but we were playing pubs. We weren't.
right.
Couple of the games we played, we got absolutely destroyed, and then I looked at badges and stuff, and people had like diamond badges on, master badges and pred badges. It's like pubs aren't matching you with people of your like skill level. There is a degree.
Right.
There is a degree of skill-based matchmaking there. After like so many games, it will essentially give you a bot lobby if you don't win a game, or at least come in the top 10, because it essentially feels sorry for you. It's like, okay, let's put you in some lower skilled players, and then maybe you do better, and It's essentially the game's way of keeping you playing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas ranked, you are going in with people who are your rank. And if there's anything I've learned from watching day one of each season split, is that Preds will quickly, very quickly, get out of whatever rank they're in. Like,
Really?
their knowledge of the game is second to none. Like, I've seen people do bronze to masters, which is Pred is the top 750 in the game per platform.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen masters is the rank that technically all Preds are. But obviously they are Apex Predators because they're in the top 750. But I've seen people do bronze to masters in one stream. And the one stream is like 12 hours long. And it's just because they come in-game to players they're playing with, and they basically finish like top 5 with the maximum kill points you can get, which is 6, every game. Because they know position and they know rotations, they know that they've got the gun skill, because obviously they play at the top of the game, etc, etc. But I digress from what the next topic is, which is local subscription pricing. We covered it last week with regards to the fact that they were changing it in Mexico and Turkey.
And we
then
have a bit of an update.
Yeah, Kit was watching the, what's it called again? Patch Notes stream last Thursday every month.
Yeah,
right?
On the last Thursday of every month, about an hour to 2 before we go live for our podcast, Twitch do a chat show basically, and they've got a, let's have a look who is it they've got the head of Twitch Community Productions hosting it, and he has guests on from different teams to talk about what they've been doing and what they're working on.
Interesting.
And yeah, we've got a clip there where he was talking to Matt Long, Director of Product Commerce, who his team was working on the getting the subscription pricing just right for everyone globally. So there were a lot of countries in which the price of a sub, was approximately $4.99 in US dollars, right? It fluctuates a bit depending on places and stuff. But it meant that some places like Turkey and Mexico, which were the first two that they started with, and they did have a trial in Brazil before this, the cost of a sub wasn't really proportionate with the cost of living in the same way that a sub in the US was, to the same level, right? So they figured that they were going to change the amount to be more in line based on the territory you're in. So obviously it'll cost them less to sub, which also means that the streamer's 50% cut will be less. To compensate for that, Twitch came up with a way where if the content creator, the streamer, us guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
If as a result of this change we end up with less revenue than we would normally have had, they'll figure out a baseline using like the last 3 to 4 months of sub revenue and like streaming hours and stuff. If we fall below that, they'll cover the difference. They'll cover all of it in the first 3 months after rolling out. The next 3 months they'll only cover 75%, then 50, then 25, and then after a year after this is rolled out, they'll stop covering the difference. Because what they were hoping, just we covered last week, they were hoping that by having the prices lower, you'll have a much higher volume of subs, so you'll end up gaining in the long term.
Correct.
And they say here that in this article from last week, they say it's reflected clearly in the numbers. So
I'm gonna play the clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Creators build global communities. And I wanted to share
why have I
this
got no sound?
exclusive that so far we've seen really strong
Uh-oh.
signals from both countries.
I don't know,
Even
I
in
can
the
hear it
last
through your
week
speaker.
of
There we
launch,
go.
we've already
I had
seen
muted
a
my
5x
headphones.
increase in
Rip.
new subscribers and gifted subs in those
I still
countries.
can't hear it.
And that's really amazing to hear.
Help creators build global communities. And I wanted to share this exclusive that so far we've seen really strong signals from both countries. Even in the last week of launch, we've already seen a 5x increase in new subscribers and gifted subs in those countries.
And
So they basically say that in Mexico and Turkey they've noticed a 5 times increase.
Right.
In the volume
new
of subs. Yeah.
and gifted subs in those
Just
two
to keep in mind, if Mexico is paying, say Mexico is paying half of what we pay as an American sub, say it's like $4.99, they pay $2.50. If they double their subscription, it's basically ratioing out the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This
You
is
look
what I
like you
said.
have
This
more
is what I said
subscribers.
last week.
But the income's the same. So people are probably looking at the base numbers and going, oh, well, you can just exploit an audience in a certain region for sub boosts, but it's less and it's just going to round out to be the same total. So this
Yes.
doesn't seem like a bad idea at all.
Yeah, see, this is what I said last week, is like, if you make it so that it's like, so let's say over here it was £2 to sub, right? I am more inclined to sub to more people than I currently do, because you think about it, right now it's £5 for me to sub to and sub, like, to all the people that I sub to.
Correct.
So I've recently, because Kit hasn't really been streaming all that much, we'll get on to something along those lines if you want to talk about it in a minute, Kit. I've cancelled my sub with Kit. I had to cancel my one with Fiend as well because I didn't have the money this month, because I spent it on something else. Like, I think I spent it on finishing up my contract so that I could upgrade my phone early. And actually no, I know what I spent it on. I used his code with one of his sponsors, affiliates even, to get the stuff from Beam. That's what I did.
Okay.
But anyway, if let's say, like, let me call out Otis, Dune, 5, Crisscross, and Jimmy. 5 people that are in Just Wipe It, right? If my subs cost me £1 instead of 5, at the moment I put £10 down, I can afford to sub to Otis and 5, for argument's sake, right? My sub goes down to £2 a sub, I can instantly afford to sub to all 5 of those people.
Wow. Yeah, you can spread it around. Like, that goes back to your directory being full of other, like, people that you're watching or streamers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
But
you're
then
able to kind
there
of
goes, and then
go more
also,
raw.
if I'm already subbed to those 5 people, the price goes down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more
And you
inclined to
save
then
more.
turn around and go, well, I'm saving £3 on each of these people. Let me gift a sub to somebody because it's costing me £2. Like, I'm still not
Exactly.
spending as much as what I used to. And then I might even go, do you know what? For an extra £1 on each person, I can gift another sub. Fuck it, let me do it. Do you know what I mean? Because I want to support my friends and other creators. So,
Exactly.
like you said, you're more inclined, at least personally I would be, to, if it's not costing me as much to sub myself, I'm more inclined to spread it around and spread the love and give somebody else access to the emotes that might not have the money to spend. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Hell, if
Exactly.
if they put it down to £2 a fucking sub here, doubtful, because different, like, cost of living and stuff. Like, we're not exactly that much different from
Over
the
here.
US.
Yeah.
But I am currently sat at 8 points. I need 25 for the third emote slot. I might even just gift the fucking rest of them. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But
So
right now,
I do a
right
budget.
now,
I don't know.
right now that it would be expensive as fuck for me, so I can't afford to do
Right.
it. But if they did put the price down to like £2, for argument's sake, I could afford to do that quite fucking easily.
Yeah, and not only does that give you more remote slots to give to your subs, but the more people you sub to, the more emotes you've got available, right?
Yep.
Emotes are, well, by now, I was going to say they're a very important part of a Twitch chat. They're near integral now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are
So
so many
there's
things
the
that
other
just
thing
like
you can
throw that emote in.
you can
that
spread the
expresses
love around.
everything. Yeah.
There's some
Indeed.
people I've followed. I didn't realize that they had such good emotes until somebody's gifted me a sub, and I'm like, holy shit, I need this emote. Do you know what I mean?
See, that's the other thing. That's how you unlock more emotes is more subscriptions. The more people who are subscribed to you, the more perks you're able to unlock on the channel. So things like that would, you know, create plenty of opportunities for people to express themselves even more as a streamer and give things back to the communities
Mm-hmm.
who subscribe to them. So yeah, it's things like that are kind of win-win. I always felt like $5 was a little too steep anyway, but I think you as somebody who watches Twitch, not just streaming, but as somebody who watches or is, a fan of multiple channels, you already are budgeting as it is
Yeah,
with
exactly.
you have your favorites and you're going to throw gifts here and there when you can. Something like that reducing the price, and I don't think it'll ever happen for us, but for those countries that the cost of living is a little bit, overscaled, it creates a ton of opportunity. You don't know who's really watching you, and you don't really know where they're from all the time either. And I would be in the same boat as you are. If it were me and this went down to like $2 a sub, I would probably be just making it rain in people's channels with gift subs
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Exactly.
it's fun to do as it is now, even though it's a little pricey.
It's another thing as well, like gifting subs for someone to turn around and go, okay, like you really enjoy being here. You are already a sub yourself, and you are gifting one to somebody else. Like,
Exactly.
do you know what I mean? So, I anything that sort of gives the viewer more opportunity to show their love and support for their favorite streamers, I'm all for it. Personally, anyway.
That's the goal.
So, right,
That is the goal.
we are done with the Twitch things then with regards to that one.
That we are on to the Destiny.
Do you want to maybe move the world's first thing to after the crossplay beta stuff? Because I just
Yes,
just
'cause
realized
we
I am
can
going to
run through
rant
the other.
the fuck out of it. I'm actually going to move it after the hotfix as well. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
crossplay beta, we just kind of discussed it last week as well, if I remember correctly, Kit.
Yeah, we did sort of discuss
It
that
was on
last
on
week.
it was on the TWAB, wasn't it?
Yeah, this week it happened. There was the emblem. If you can see the video, if you're here live or if you're watching on YouTube, that was the emblem that you had a chance to get. Was it over as of today's reset, or does it go until tomorrow's reset?
Tomorrow's reset. Yeah.
Tomorrow's reset.
Yeah,
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, it says
So,
May 25th.
By the time you would see this,
7th, so yeah.
the opportunity is probably gone.
Yeah.
But it was cool while it lasted. I'm looking forward to
It
next
was.
season more now.
One thing I will say is we were playing the other day with Bean. He was on PlayStation, and we was like searching in the crossplay playlist. That's the word.
Really?
Thank you, Kit. At the exact same time, and a couple times me and Kit ended up in the same like strike, even though we were both on PC. So I'd like to see more weight given to
Other platforms when matchmaking.
you know, yeah, other platforms when matchmaking. So
Especially
if you
for a
are on
test like that.
PC, yeah, if you are on PC, find me an Xbox player, find me a PlayStation player, find me a Stadia player, whatever. But find me 2 other players in a strike that aren't on PC, please, because the amount of people I did actually find in that playlist that were on PC, because I knew because I could view their profile on
It
Steam,
has
and then
the
you know,
Steam key next to your
yeah.
name. Yeah.
Was unreal. But then
Oh,
also,
yeah.
someone, I think it was Katie Cat, tweeted out the other day, how's the crossplay beta, and it was like people AFKing at the beginning of the fucking strike. Like,
Oh no.
honestly,
Mine was seamless.
like,
I played 3 matches. I played with a
Yeah.
PS player. It was amazing.
I saw the weirdest take on the crossplay earlier today, and
know.
I pointed out to Yokai before, and I was like, who gives a shit, right? There was someone who was a console player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said on Twitter, I think it was in response to this tweet actually, but he'd said that he was being paired with a load of cheaters on PC, and he was saying that like they were getting to the end of the strike and no time at all, and they had like no kills, and they were just killing the boss, and they were just like, if you're in lake, you can just do it in like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. You just run past everything. Doesn't matter on your platform. I mean, sure, PC has slightly faster loading times, so you don't get caught in as many of the like, oh no, I'm
And
stuck.
this
I've
is
got to
the
wait for
thing.
it to load.
This is the thing as well. I think as well. So I'm not saying that there probably wasn't cheaters in the crossplay beta.
Oh no, there will have been. They're everywhere, but
Yeah.
not as many as you would
But
expect.
I think
that,
maybe maybe some console players will have overreacted and seen how quick PCs can load, and how quick we can get through a fucking strike. Because I'm not being funny. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Just playing on GeForce Now, where I had input lag and stream lag, you know, because the game is streamed to my old shitty PC that I now use as a stream PC, I felt faster because of having 60 frames well, I actually had 90, no, 80 even on GeForce Now, rather than having 30. I felt faster, right? So if I visually feel faster, the likelihood is I'm putting my inputs in faster. Do you know what I mean? So the same thing goes for me playing on actual PC. Probably a bit different because I'm still, you know, getting fast with. I'm getting there with regards to Destiny for PC with keyboard and mouse, but other games sometimes I still like fumble over things. And like press an ability when I mean to, you know, fat finger. Like everybody does it though. But so seeing how fast the PCs can do things, I think maybe they're like, oh, they're cheating because
Yeah, it's culture shock almost.
yeah,
You know, they're like, what is happening?
they've fired 6 fucking um
It is
xenophages in the time it's
light
taken you
years
to reload
faster on
yours. Like,
PC.
do you know what I mean?
Light years faster on PC.
Yeah.
Just
So
all around.
I think, whilst yes, as Kit said, they're everywhere. I think they will have been in the playlist. There probably is, you know, countless interactions between console players and cheaters in this playlist. As Kit said, and I agree, who the fuck cares? It's PvE. Like,
And it's not even like top tier PVE, like you know, the guided games, raids and stuff.
nah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a strike. Get in,
Strike.
get out. And that's the thing as well, is that one of the comments was like, a lot of people on PC look at a strike and go, it's a strike, I just want to get in, get out, be done with it. Whereas, you know, there was someone saying there, I think they replied to that, they're saying, not everyone wants to run around with a sidearm and shoot every single enemy.
This is true.
But yeah, so I think there is going to be a degree of truth to it. There will be, you know, cheaters in there. but at the same time, I think it is more of a culture shock in that they're not used to partnering up with PC players, and PC players are some of the fastest in the fucking world. I've seen, you know, Katie Cat and who else was it? I can't remember who it was, but they were teaching Anubis how to do Warlock, speed run skating in the tribute hall back in Season of Arrivals, and seeing the speed that you can get. I can't do it, and I'm a Warlock main. Katie's a Titan main, she can do it, so fucking more respect to you. But my point is, seeing the speed that they can get surprises even me. So
Oh yeah.
if people are doing that, and like I've seen people do the, you know, sword into shatter dive slide, fly across the fucking map on like Europa. I've seen people do the same thing, but with a fucking Well of Radiance on a Warlock across
Right.
fucking the Cosmodrome. Like,
That's like what the world line glitch. I mean, that was
yeah.
amazing.
My point being,
So-
there is movement tech in the game that certain people are good with. People can do. It's easier to do on PC because of, you know, less input lag and being able to actually bind things and being able to do macros and shit like that. Like, you want to call cheater every time someone does something fucking fast, then you know what? Every world's first race, when fucking Glad and Sweatcicle and all these other players that are at the top of the fucking game beat a raid that takes you 8 hours in like 2, call cheats. They're not. They're just extremely fucking good at the game. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just because it takes you longer doesn't mean that the person who's doing it in a short time is cheating. And I think
I think it's just a gimme, given like the tone towards PC play, especially in the Crucible. It's, you know,
mm,
they assume everyone's doing it at this stage. So like
yeah, exactly.
you do anything and they're like, oh, they're cheating. They're it's a cheater, and it's just kind of it's just a tired
And I think
sentiment.
the only
Like,
reason
I
Bungie's
understand
gonna
it's
get
there, but
the only way Bungie's gonna get rid of it is like an actual full-blown anti-cheat as well. So
exactly.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think
It is.
we're working
Everyone's
on that.
cheating now. He says.
We're all cheaters. I cheated through 3 strikes the other day. Who knew? Because I ran past.
Because
I ran
Stasis
past.
is cheating.
I ran past the ad. I ran past the thrall. So I'm a
Okay.
cheater.
Alright, I'm gonna
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on
Let's
quickly to
let's speed run through some other stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So obviously we had a hot fix Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Fixed
Yeah.
a bunch of things along with
They killed my boy, my sweet sweet fish pants. He never even had a chance. They killed him already.
yeah, they
So
fixed some
awful.
things and
Hey, my boost got a
broke
hit
it.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the assemblers. Yeah.
I love it though. Kit says my
No more
boots got hit.
well-used.
He was a hunter main prior to last season, and now he's joined me in enlightened camp.
I was when you asked for my bio, I was literally going to be like, "Yeah, I live outside of Philly and I'm a hunter main," and that would have been good enough, like that's
Yeah.
where we stand.
But yeah, they've changed a few things, fixed a few things, and
They did.
broke a few things probably, but we won't know
Well,
until
we haven't found those out yet. Let's
yeah.
get on to that.
But we'll go into the next one, which is what I tweeted out earlier. I said you might want to get in here because I have a feeling this one's going to be a fucking rant and a half. And we covered a couple of things in regards to being accepting of people earlier when we were talking about Twitch topics and stuff. Obviously we all shown support for BLM and the movement that's making. Someone, as you can see on screen, if you're on Twitter, in the stream or on YouTube, someone in the team that finished second had the name hashtag Black Lives Don't Matter, and for one, I'm sorry, you're going to take part in one of the biggest events in any Destiny related calendar, in a world's first race, right? And you're going to use it to be a complete and utter fucking idiot.
It's just being a memeing prick. That's what they
Exactly.
thought. They thought it'd be funny.
They're like, haha, this is funny because people are going around. No, like, I'm sorry. Can we just like, correct me if I'm wrong, both of you. Like, but can we just get to the point in everybody's, human evolution where everybody has a brain and realizes that when it comes to things that relate to people's lives being lost, there is no fucking acceptable joke to be had.
I think I was disappointed. I shared a tweet about this. I think that initial tweet from Regina, or it might have been someone else. And I shared it, and it's actually like the tweet that blew up on my timeline from people responding. And I had people actually trying to do like mental gymnastics. And for me, what bothered me was that, like, I see where Dylan was like, this breaks our code of conduct. The player in question will be banned. It should have said players immediately. It should have been all 6 of them. There
Yeah.
is no dispute that when you're participating in a world's first, like you said, that somebody actually used that excuse, like, oh, well, maybe they just picked up a last minute rando. I was like, yeah, sure. Somebody's going into a random LFG Discord looking for the ghost of Hitler. Like, please do not use that kind of,
I mean,
outlook.
even if they
It's
did,
just unrealistic as hell. These people, I was in a day one team and we were planning like 4 weeks in advance. So
yeah.
hearing
And
that
even if
this
you,
was a
even if you
last minute
do, right? So even if you do go on LFG and go, I want to take part in Worlds First. This is my qualifications. Who wants to like pick me up, right? As soon as you see that name in your fire team, you fucking get rid.
Yeah,
I'm
you're just
sorry, because you just proved that you are that this person is trying, like, this person has just proved, just by simply joining the fire team with that name, that they are a memeing prick that wants to try and turn some form of hardship against other humans into a joke. And
No,
I'm
that's
sorry,
not the
it's
worst
not
part. There was a
fucking funny.
history.
Yeah. And
There
then,
was a history with
so
this team.
yeah, so then you've got the other 5, like you say, they all should have been banned because they're basically just fucking accepting. I saw some of the names he fucking changed it to as well, like DMG's like the R word or something like that. Like, there was a bunch of other
Yeah.
like
No, he
horrible
previously.
things he changed his name to.
So the same fire team was on the Crown of Sorrow rankings and the
Oh, were
Last
they?
Wish rankings, and the 6th player, instead of Black Lives Don't Matter, their name was kneeling on George Floyd.
Wow.
Now keep in mind, Last Wish happened and Crown happened before George Floyd's death. So this person has been doing this repeatedly in hopes that, it's going to harm someone, visually, that they're going to become emotionally upset at seeing something like this.
Yeah.
And for me to hear,
Otis has just put in chat that guy changed his name 5 times
oh
that day to
yeah,
all
we found his
offensive things.
profile. Yeah, we found his profile. And then once people in my timeline, like, they were like actually talking to me about this, like in response to the retweet, figured out that this was a repetitive behavior, or a pattern, repeated pattern of behavior. They were like, oh no, yeah, all 6 of those dudes should go. And that's what I mean. Like, it shouldn't even be a question in the first place. The fact that we had to research it and then figure out that these guys were doing this
Stop
repeatedly.
crying, they don't. Oh, that was one. There was one. There's the one I was mostly like heard about. That is a tranny, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
who gives a fuck? Like, if I'm pretty sure he only actually cross dresses for cosplay. But again, who cares?
Yeah, these guys
Let
were
people
awful.
do what they want in their own fucking lives. Like, dude.
But I put out a tweet and I stated no uncertain terms that if I play with you and you change your name to something like this, that's and as soon as I find out about it, that's like the last minute I
Yeah.
know you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All ties, just no.
Yeah,
Cool.
just gone.
Exactly. For right now, Patino, hi from England, and GoPo is from the US. Thank you very much for coming on in. We're talking Destiny. Part of what we do talk about on this podcast is Twitch news as well as some Destiny stuff. So recently we had the world's first race on Destiny for a returning raid, Vault of Glass, and someone had a racist name, and so we were just like giving our own personal opinions upon it, and you know, covering it and essentially making a note of it for our own history, if you will, podcast. So we can like look back in like a year's time ago. Oh, episode 21. Yeah, oh yeah, that was when we covered the VoG race first, and that race motherfucker was on.
Address
Sort of
the
thing,
issue,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
You want that notarized,
So,
throughout your.
And thank you very much for the follow. But yeah, I completely fucking agree. I think this does stem from the fact that we can change our name at any given point on like Steam, but at the same
Right.
time, I completely agree that the player is banned. I hope they're not just banning him for or her or them in general. Just to generalize it. I hope we're not just banning them for a select number of time and they are literally donezo out of the
No,
fucking
I'm
community.
pretty sure it's a permaban.
And then again, if I think they do need to do the research that obviously players have done to come up with what you said, GoPo, that it is a reoccurring thing with this entire team, and then get rid of the whole fucking lot of them personally. So
I mean, the other 5 would have to live with the shame if this were a one-time off, and they were that desperate to get a world's first that they partnered up with somebody this tasteless.
yeah, exactly.
Sure, we know their names, we know all 5 of them, but when you see that they're like historically that they've been participating with this person who's been doing this the whole time, they're all in on it at this stage, and they're all
Yeah.
it's called complicity, and I think they're all in it together. It's no different in trials. You know how they tell you when you go into trials, if you go into trials with a known cheater and they are cheating as you play with them, and they get banned, you're getting banned as well. The entire fire team gets banned. They drop the hammer on all 3 of you. And I don't understand why the circumstances would be different when it comes to something like this. Like it should be
Yeah.
the same way. If you're here to be offensive or transgressive towards other people, like you need to go find another game that accepts that sort of attitude.
I mean, that'd be
Toxicity.
hard.
Get out of this one.
Well, this is the thing as well. I've as soon as I've seen this tweet and I've seen all the community getting behind it and be like, yes, like Bungie, when Dylan DMG turned around and went, do you know what? He's going to get banned. The player in question will be banned. The amount of support I saw on it, I was like, yes, this is what we need. Unified the Destiny community under, we do not need this piece of shit as part of our community, sort of thing.
And some people are playing the it's these toxic positivity people and whatever, and it's like, no, it's just generally decent human beings. Like I just don't want to play with scumbags anymore. I'm
Yeah.
old enough that I did play in all the COD lobbies. I've seen video
Yeah,
games
same. Dude,
from
I was what?
your inception.
When was Call of Duty 4 released? Like 2007?
Yeah.
I was
That's it, yeah.
14. I shouldn't have been playing it, but I was. Right? And
Yeah.
the typical your typical toxic little kid, like I say little kid, I was a teenager, was me.
The
You said
squeaker.
you said something, not so much a squeaker, but
Yeah, I know.
turn around and say, oh, kid, you're trash, rather this, that, and the other. I'm gonna turn around and say, ha, so your mum didn't say that last night, rather this, that
Yep,
sort of
the old
shit,
mom
right?
jokes.
I
Yeah.
am, same as you. I am from that era. There's
But I
people
don't
that
want to
turn
be
around and
part of that.
go, yeah, the people that turn around and say, oh, you wouldn't have survived COD lobbies. It's like, motherfucker, I did. Hell, I
I
just
did,
said it.
yeah.
Hell, I just said it earlier in this podcast. I led a fucking clan in that shit. A clan that, to this day, I turn around on Twitter and interact with other clans from back in those days, like the Call of
But
Duty Ghosts,
the point
and
you're
Advanced
trying to
Warfare
reach is you don't want it
days.
to be like that anymore.
Exactly.
Like, just because that did happen doesn't mean it
It
still
needs
has
to
to keep
continue.
happening. Yeah. Like, grow from it, for Christ's sake. Like,
It's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing with regards to like slavery and our
exactly.
history. It's our history for a fucking reason.
Learn from it. Like, just grow. Just be a better
Exactly,
human being.
Godis.
Like,
COD
I
lobbies
ain't
are still
asking you
like
to
that.
be. I'm not asking you to shit sunshine and puppy dogs. I'm just asking you not to be a garbage
dick.
human being towards other people. Yeah. Just
But
stop being a prick.
on a more positive note, we're gonna go into the TWAB because they do cover the
They are
actual
still like that.
winners.
I was playing Cold War like a couple weeks ago, and this is what I do in COD lobbies now. As soon as I join, I immediately mute the entire lobby and I just
Yeah.
play by
Yep.
myself. I don't, not a peep. I
Agreed.
don't listen to it at all anymore.
It's almost
But-
like a prerequisite now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. Like on console, obviously crossplay is a thing now with since Modern Warfare,
Yeah.
and Cold War. On console, 9 times out of 10 you wouldn't see me in game chat anyway. Like when I was playing on my Xbox. Why? Because I was sat in a Xbox live party with whoever I was fucking playing with, or whoever I felt like talking to at that point. They were playing a different game.
Right.
So, because I don't want any part of your mum this, your mum that. Like,
Oh,
you're
God,
trash,
so
you're trash, kid. Like, your KD's
see-
a 0.8. Like, I couldn't care two fucks. Like, when I ran my clan during Call of Duty Ghosts and Advanced Warfare, right? We had the whole clan wars thing, and what I was gonna say a minute ago and was going on about that was, to this day I can still go on Twitter and interact with some of the big name clans from back in those days,
yeah.
and they know my clan's name because we trash talked them. No, because we beat them in a clan war. Maybe. But no, most of them know our name because we just played our game. We won what we could win, and we got the points that we got, and we were top 15, I think, at one point in the
Right.
clan leaderboards for the world. And you only got those points if you were in the top tier of the top tier clans. And why? Because we had dedicated players that wanted to play the game and play well. And did we have the same requirements as some clans of, oh, must have a 2.0 KD, must have this, must have that? No. We had one requirement, and that was that you weren't a dick. And technically two requirements. And the second one was that you had at least a 0.9 win-loss ratio. And even then, we had a guy who had a 0.7 win-loss join us, and yeah, after 2 clan wars, he had a 1.5 win-loss, because every day he was playing with clan
You just
members,
needed
and
people, yeah.
every day we were winning games. And as Otis says, yeah, it was a great idea, not implemented too well. I agree, but also, it needs to come back to in some capacity. If it doesn't, then for me, I've lost all the interest in Call of Duty because of the fact that all I'm playing for is to, beat the other guy.
Right. I mean, that's the point of it. It's like you're just gaming to have fun and chill, and a lot of times,
Whereas Clan Wars
if you-
created a degree of community there for me. So
exactly, a lot of times this is a place to decompress. This is where you get away from the stress. So the last
But-
thing anybody's trying to deal with is more of it in your recreation.
Clan Elysium were verified as the winners of the second world's first for Vault of Glass.
GG's.
They did very fucking well. They actually beat out, a bunch of well-known teams that competed in DSC and did really well in DSC. So Redeem
They
being
beat
one of
out
them.
second place Redeem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fuck those kids, man. Fuck that fucking team too. I'm so amazed that they would believe that that was worth it.
Yeah. To be honest, I like you say, I disqualify all of them personally.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
Whole damn batch.
I'm not gonna read through like all the comments with regards to asking team questions and stuff, but we are gonna go to they are making changes to stasis right here.
Oh boy.
Weapons are finally they wanted to boil the combat down to weapons that are the primary way players engage combat. Non-supers abilities accelerate or augment the combat and should not really resolve an encounter by themselves. Abilities have clear strengths and weaknesses and counterplay. Build crafting is rewarding within moment-to-moment combat loop of Destiny, which obviously will be more in relation. Back in March, they released a roadmap, but it was developed separately alongside Season 14, so pieces were already moving. Some changes that were made that buffed stasis. I'm guessing they meant like the aspects and stuff.
Fragments, yeah.
Yeah. So they're changing it so that they can more align with each other, essentially, is what I'm taking away from that. Then we've got, they're making heating up general stasis changes. This freeze, I've been calling for this one for a while. Reduce the duration of non-super freezes versus players to 0 to 1.35 seconds. That is basically the same as what it is for a Warlock melee or a Warlock like Cold Snap. It's too short to break out of, so now it will only give you the option to break out if you were frozen by a super. They've reduced special weapon, heavy weapon, and light ability bonus damage versus frozen players from 50% down to 5. So
wow.
Instead of doing, let's say you had 100 damage to a target, instead of doing 150 damage, you now do 105. Which I personally think is a good thing. Especially since we've got an aspect that increases primary weapon damage. Kinetic damage against frozen targets.
I like the next section best, really. The stasis slow doesn't reduce weapon accuracy anymore.
Yep, and the next section after that, I also agree with, which is no longer suppresses class ability or air moves like Icarus Dash. So the other week, they nerfed, quote-unquote nerfed, because it was a bug that they patched without actually telling people it was a bug before patching it.
Well, they told them the bug, they just didn't tell them they fixed it.
No, they basically said when people were complaining, oh, Icarus Dash don't work anymore, they went, oh yeah, that was a bug, it was always going to get squashed. It's like, yeah, but you normally turn around and go, okay, this is a bug, we're going to squish it, have fun
No,
with it
they
while it
they
lasts.
legit said it was a bug. They just didn't tell us that they fixed it. They said it a while back because I've got a few warlocks on my feed, and that was the first thing they were like, "What?" And I'm like, "Here comes the uninstalled Destiny button." But no, they knew it was coming. They were just mad that they weren't made aware that they chose that time to do it. And that's what Cosmo apologized about in a tweet. He was like, "I'm sorry, I forgot to include that in the patch notes." And he refreshed that point that you're making now, which is that it was a bug we intended to fix. But they had already said that it was a bug beforehand.
No, I
So he was
didn't
just
see that.
yeah. So he
But
was
anyway, known issue is currently, whilst all these things are going to be implemented, Stormcrawler's ionic blink is still suppressed while slowed, and they're going to address that in a future release. And now they've reduced the movement speed penalty while slowed to about 20%. So you'll be reduced by 20% instead of whatever it is now. I think it's
By
like
about 20%.
Oh, is it by about?
So if it was taking off 20%, it'll now only take off about 17, 18.
Yeah.
No. 16.
Then
15, 16.
Whisperer Hedron's fragment no longer increases weapon damage after freezing, and it now increases weapon stability, aim assist, mobility, resilience, and recovery after freezing. And the Whisper of Rhyme no longer provides overshield whilst in Super. As somebody who has been making use of that in Mayhem, I can tell you that is actually broken as fuck.
It is. It's
So,
super.
Cold Snaps no longer track targets after their initial target acquisition. So it will, target a player and continue to target them until the duration is out. Arming duration before Seeker spawns is from 0.3 to 0.8. Reduce the detonation radius from 3 meters to 1.5, and it now bounces off of the walls and detonates on the ground rather than seeking its target.
Yeah, I've lost times. I've lost count of the number of times I've thrown a cold snap grenade wrong, and it's just climbed up the wall and disappeared.
Yeah. So Titan Behemoth is also being looked at because it is the strongest. It generally has the highest win rate of any subclass, most 6v6 game modes, and is also among the strongest in 3v3 trials matches. For example, only Top Tree Dawn has a higher win rate, and we've taken these strengths into account when balancing Behemoth's abilities between Sivir Strike and Cryoclasm. The Behemoth has an incredibly high mobility, making targeting the Behemoth frustrating for controller players in particular. We've taken steps to make Behemoth more targetable while moving, which should hopefully alleviate some of this frustration. So the flight speed and distance has been reduced on Sivir Strike, the knockback versus player has also been reduced, and the slow detonation on player impact has also been removed, in fact. So
does that mean if you want to send players flying off the edge of the map, you're gonna have to use a tractor cannon?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
So.
Oh.
You still get knockback, but not as much.
Well, yeah.
Cryoclasm, which is their ice slide, for anybody who just calls it the ice slide, like I do. Now requires the Titan to sprint for 1.25 seconds for the activation, when not in Super. But they have also removed the cooldown, so you can now infinitely do it.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But you've got to be sprinting.
You've got to sprint.
Yes.
Yeah, so you do the slide and then sprint for 1.25 seconds before you can do it again anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no point having the cooldown on.
Yeah, because the cooldown was only like 5 seconds anyway. So.
Yeah.
Then Howl the Storm, which is the ice that they can produce from a slide melee is been reduced angle of the initial freezing and damage cone, reduced crystal creation freezing radius, slowed down sequence of crystal formation to allow victims more opportunity to escape, which is basically just a balance thing when you think about it. If
Right.
that comes at you, you need to be able to see it to be able to actually counterplay it, rather than just going, okay, he's sliding, I need to assume he's going to do that. Now spawns a small crystal on walls if formed into wall. I've got a clip of me doing it in trials where I actually got somebody was reviving somebody else and I got them both through a wall.
Wow.
And yeah, and I just fell-wintered both of them, won the round for my team. I wasn't complaining at the time, but you know, at the same time, I'm there going. At the same time, I'm like,
They probably were.
You're like, this is broken. Something's wrong
Yeah.
with this. I
I
don't feel good about it.
I think I might have even titled the clip "How the fuck" or something like that. So I'll have to have a look. Then Glacial Quake reduced the heavy slam vertical freeze range versus players, and reduced the damage resistance again from 50%, was what, 70 before? They reduced it to 50. It's now been reduced to 47. Then Hunter Revenant has also been, nerfed as the 5th highest win rate in any subclass tree, but is used by a whopping 36% trials players. High usage means players fall victims to its abilities more often, multiplying the frustration of being slowed by a Withering Blade and Winter's Shroud. We hope the changes we've made, paired with the adjustments to Revenant's abilities, will make this experience better. So Withering Blade duration versus players has now also been reduced from 2.5 to 1.5. Whisper of Durance, slow duration extension versus players is from 2 seconds down to 0.5. Reduce the damage versus players from 65 to 45. And after one bounce on a wall, it's further reduced to 30. And they reduce the projectile speed by 10%, reduce tracking off the wall. Winter's Shroud, reduce slow duration from 2.5 to 1.5 seconds. And the duration for Whisper of Durance is now also reduced from 2. So it's basically a Whisper of Durance nerf from. So essentially, you'll go from 1.5 to 2 seconds rather than 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Touch of Winter, Cold Snap, which is the new fragment, I believe. The new aspect, even. Cold Snap Seeker no longer has increased movement speed or travel distance. And now spawns a small stasis crystal on detonation. Whew, there's a lot of patch notes. Penumbral Blast, even. Holy shit. Reduced tracking and proximity detonation size and tracking versus players. Reduced freeze duration versus players, impacting the environment from 2.7 to 1.5. So it's almost exactly halved. Ice Flare Bolt Seeker now only chains once when spawned from a player shatter. Needed to happen. And bear in mind, when I say stuff like this about Shadebinder, I'm a Warlock main, right? So if I'm saying it needs to happen, it's because I'm played as this, and I know it's broken as fuck. Winter's Wrath, freezing projectile, tracking speed, strength now ramps down to 0 after 2 seconds of flight. Yeah, so overall, stasis are getting tuned so it's more in line, as they say here. Look, the win rates usage are more in line with light subclasses. One this. We want to encourage this. I think they wanted to bring stasis in as a punishment for out of position players, and it's not become that. It's become okay.
Worse.
Instant win button essentially. So we'll see how that pans out. Did they say anywhere in here, Kit, when this is gonna come be released? Or...
Not in the next week or so.
Okay. Go on, GoPo. What was you gonna say?
It's not some. I think Joe Blackburn said it was something they were already in the works on when he made the initial, like, I guess, state of the game address, that they were already on the ball with what their intentions were here. But it was really tough for them to communicate it because they're stuck between delivering false hope and trying to focus on the grind of creating these fixes.
Yeah.
And I know there was a lot of frustration here over the last couple months, but I'm seeing a lot of joy on the Twitter feeds over this. But that's a byproduct of patience. Like we have to learn how to just hang in there sometimes, because we constantly play this, oh, we're listening. Well, obviously they were. I don't know if you're reading this TWAB today as a PvP main and somehow feeling like they weren't listening to you, because they were. It just takes time, And I feel like if they'd have said something like, oh, by this date we should have it fixed, and they didn't deliver, then it would be even worse than it already was with the nerf stasis hashtags and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is.
But I believe they were listening. I think they always are.
When people turn around and say, "Oh, the we're listening" meme, like I was one of them, because it's like, yeah, like you say, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place essentially, and it doesn't feel like they're listening. But then, I'm not gonna go out and turn around like tweet at DMG or at Joe Blackburn or any one of the DMG team and say, haha, we're listening, get fucked, like, blah, 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 blah,
You
blah,
can't
blah.
do that.
Be fucking
You
toxic.
can't do that.
Do you know what I mean? The way I'm going to show them that I'm not happy with a particular portion of the game is I'm just not gonna fucking play it.
There you go.
Because why?
That's with everything in life. Why
Because-
would you do anything that frustrates you?
Yeah, exactly.
Repeatedly?
So why? Because, alright, I didn't enjoy. I was in Season of the Hunt. I said this a couple weeks back, I think, maybe last week as well. But I've said this a bunch of times in the podcast before. In Season of the Hunt, I was really enjoying stasis and PvP and getting better at PvP, to the point where what started as when Beyond Light came out and when I first moved to PC in December, me playing PvP and using stasis, easy I win button, slowly I realized that's not making me a better player. I'm gonna use different subclasses. So what did I start using? I used stasis on my hunter, but sometimes I would switch to Middle Tree Void, Spectral Blades, or I would do Middle Tree Arc for the defense ability of the super. I could turn shade bind projectiles against the enemies, sort of thing. And then the same with my warlock. I wasn't having fun on Shadebinder as much as I felt like I could. And then Hath, obviously, around about the time I was just about to join Favored, beginning of January, or the end of January, whenever it was, came out with his video about Chaos Reach and how he'd learned the power of Chaos Reach in PvP through obviously playing it himself, but also watching people like Noise Tank who religiously use it and stuff like that. Like, so I started using Chaos Reach, and lo and behold, I started having fun. And then I'm like, okay. Then I spotted other warlocks that I knew playing PvP like Hath, Lysis, playing Dawn. So I'm like, do you know what? Let me go for that because I like the speed option. I like the ability to move around the map and stuff like that. So whilst ultimately I have gone back to Chaos Reach because I find it a whole lot of fun to just like float up in the air and go haha laser. For me, I just
Oh,
like the only one I actually stuck my guns in any way, shape, or form in staying on stasis was the Titan, and mainly due to just how oppressive the super was. Like,
right.
And personally, I think we've been staying on the topic of stasis a little bit too long.
Yeah, for I mean we can bury it now. It's
yeah.
I mean, I don't
But
know. We'll
then,
see how this weekend goes with trials, and that'll be the real test. You're gonna find out if people are like, yeah,
well,
stasis is fixed,
it's not
or
in
it's
yet,
not.
is it? It's
Oh yeah, it's not in yet. That's right. They haven't even. When is that patch coming?
we don't know. But I think it said that they said not within the next week or something.
Well, they've got an update note. They've got patch notes
Or
for
1303,
3203.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be in there, but like you'd
Which
normally
is
say
planned,
that like
which
it
is
includes
planned,
the ones that we mentioned above, and
which is
then any
planned
other
Expected to
things.
go
to go live on June
June 3rd.
3rd. So
There we
next
go.
week.
Next weekend will be the determining factor.
So if they manage to squeeze it into 3203, then it will come with that.
Nice.
If not, then they'll get it in the week after.
But yeah,
But
then
by
you've
this
got
point, it won't be delayed by much.
then we've got Expunge, the new weekly mission. They're gonna do pinnacles after a certain point. Like, as the seasonal challenge will come out, and then it will become a pinnacle.
Yeah, June
sort of.
June 15th.
Yeah.
There'll be a pinnacle activity challenge.
Yeah.
And the first 4 weeks of new expunge missions will give high stat armor, and then after that you get weapons with an extra perk in the last slot.
Yeah, it's in.
Okay, and then hotfix 2303. Obviously,
Here we
we've
go.
just been on about it. They're correcting the lost sector thing with empty tank. Bunch of other like fixes, like for the shotgun and the machine gun from Iron Banner.
Yeah.
And then they'll also make a full list of patch notes when it's released. Excuse me. A few missed notes on the previous one that we quickly glanced over earlier was that they fixed an issue where Flash Join wasn't usable.
Yeah.
On Steam, they removed Glimmer Cloth to apply shaders. They fixed an issue that prevented Reverie Dawn armor from taking shaders. They reduced the kill requirements to unlock Null Composure's Gambit ornament. And they fixed an issue where the Contender Plate Titan Chest ornament would not show under Universal Ornaments for those that purchased the Guardian Games bundle. Beagle errors, known issues. There we go. Shaders came pre-built on armors, such as Iron Banner shaders. Grips of Exile, gauntlets. Blah, blah, blah. Feast of Light perk on the Star Eater scales not working as intended when stepping on a Well of Radiance. So they know that's an issue. Obtaining Exodus Down armor does not count towards a Red 4 Camp Collections badge. Okay. And the cache of Kabir chest at the end of Vault Glass may list incorrect perk and weapon types on the available weapon catches. So at the moment, it's showing that Found Verdict is a kinetic shotgun, and it's not. It's an energy. we got movie of the week. Somebody built Vex Mythoclast in Minecraft.
That's insane.
Someone got debated. Again, you want to go and watch these, go right ahead. We don't watch them on the
Yeah, I
podcast
watched the
here.
All Snipes one. That one's ridiculous.
Guardians make their own fate. This Be Serious. I saw this and I thought,
It's
do you know what?
so
I want to see that every day. So behind my OBS right now, I have this. I've got it as a fucking, because it works perfectly for a portrait monitor.
nice.
I think I cut off
yeah.
like the front of the sort of kind of a little bit, but then we've got a guardian just chilling by a fire, hunter, lone survivor it's called.
A Dead Man's Tale, so I guess it's a tribute to Catabasis.
Probably. But yeah, and then, which is funny because the tag's Titan Master Race.
Come on.
That's fucking hilarious.
Why?
But yeah, they say thanks for chewing your way through this meaty twab. We'll get back to your day, and we'll just leave you with this. Supplicants only want hugs. Please show
No.
them some affection. No, they will
Aw.
blow
Not
me the
hug
fuck up.
a supplicant.
But yeah, carry on, Kit, and let you take away the closing remarks whilst I find
Okay.
somebody to read.
You find us someone nice then, Trap. Thanks for coming on and talking with us today, GoPo. It's been fun. I haven't really had a chance to talk with you much, so it's not good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on. And it was some pretty good topics, and I think it was really nice that I actually got to be on during the nerf stasis.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a fortunate run. So if which we might do at some point, probably not like really short term, but like if we ask you to come on again, would you be cool with that? And is there anyone you want to see on the podcast, or maybe come on with if we ask you back on again?
Who is it? I'd like to. I mean, I don't know if you know Mosh Pat or any of the Dojo peeps. They're wonderful peeps too. I think
I've got Mosh Pat somewhere on my list.
Dips is a fun one. There's quite a few characters I could list, but I don't even know where to start right now. I think I would probably start with Mosh because he's entertaining.
Yeah, I follow him on TikTok. He is actually like really funny.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Yeah, he's a good dude.
I think we're gonna go and see GG.
Cool.
Member of Just Wipe It. Currently playing Marvel's Avengers, as you can see right there. So let me open this up and I'll switch the scene real quick. Boom. And then I will get the or not. She's offline.
Oh, no.
Let me refresh this. Ah, my god.
Alright, find someone who's live, Trip.
Yeah, that'd be a good start, huh?
Does help.
Do you know what? Fuck it. Newest member, we had him on last week on the podcast.
Hey,
We'll go and see Kirby.
let's
There you
go.
go.
Senor Kirby.
What's he
Newest
playing?
member of Just Wipe It. He's playing Destiny 2. So, Senor Kirby. Here we go. So, thank you very much again. I echo exactly what Kit said, GoPo. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, I
I appreciate
appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I really I had a lot of fun. It was some really good topics. A couple of them were super meaningful, even beyond the
Mhm.
game. That's what's important. I think people need to pay attention to the fact that Destiny is just a video game sometimes.
Yeah. Does feel
Yeah,
like with the story of Kaitor and Mithrax, so that they are bringing a certain degree of real world topics into the game as well. So I'm very much applaud them for that personally. But
yeah, I think that's important as well. I mean, it's it's a byproduct of who we are, like what we're experiencing.
Exactly. But anybody who is here live, you know the drill by now. If you are a sub to my channel, put in the 2 emotes that Kit has just put in the chat. And if you are not a sub, you can use channel points to unlock them, or you can go with the Twitch global emotes. Either are completely fine. Kit has just put the global emotes there in the chat as well. And then if you want to add a little message, just put congrats on joining Just Wipe It. But until next time, see you on the next one.